If you've been struggling with building a meditation practice, this is the video for you. We're going to go through the step-by-step process of how to determine for you what a steady and sustainable meditation practice is. Welcome. I'm David Piccarello, and this channel is dedicated to making Buddhist practice simple and accessible for everyday life. With that having been said, let's jump into it. I've broken this process into 5 steps. 1. Find a location. 2. Determine your baseline. 3. Form a realistic daily practice. 4. Determine your limits. And 5. Deepen. The first step is to find a location where you're going to meditate. A good location doesn't have to be perfectly quiet or super inspiring religious, but it needs to be safe and convenient and available. The second step is quick. Determine your baseline. To determine your baseline, ask yourself the following question. No matter what happens during your day, how much time will you definitely have available to meditate? Think about that question in 3 ways: psychological, logistical, and physical. Psychologically, ask yourself, if something just takes 1 minute, are you going to procrastinate it? How about 5 minutes? How about 15 minutes? 1 hour? We might be more likely to do something if we can just get it done real quick. Alternatively, think of this as a logistical question. Do I have enough time in the day to get this done before it's time to go to work or to bed or whatever? And lastly, from a physical perspective, how long can you sit while being comfortable? Do your legs and knees start to hurt? Considering all these things, write down your no excuse amount of time, your baseline. Okay, now that we've talked about determining your baseline, let's move on to the third step. The third step is to form the habit of practicing meditation daily. This step will probably take some number of months. In terms of duration, use your baseline to start a solid daily practice. Track 2 things. 1, how many days per week do you meditate? And 2, what are the total number of minutes per week do you meditate? Creating a good habit doesn't come about by mistake. It takes prior planning to start a new habit. There are a lot of ways to start a new habit. One way is to pair the practice with an existing habit, such as brushing your teeth or cleaning up after dinner. Other ways are to replace another habit, such as habitually doom scrolling every night before bed. Also, if you found a time to do it, but you keep forgetting, try setting an alarm just as a reminder. While most people tend to do their meditation practice in the morning, personally I find morning meditation practice difficult, so I usually practice at night. My suggestion is to get creative and try different things, especially if what you're doing isn't working. Once you have the habit of meditating 6 or 7 days a week for 4 weeks in a row, you can start to move on to step 4. In step 4, we're testing our limits. Now, this suggestion may sound crazy, but bear with me. The goal here is to fail. In order to fail, we're going to attempt to double your per week meditation time until you can't double it again. For example, a 35 minutes per week baseline would become 70 minutes per week goal. Try to meditate that doubled amount of time for 4 weeks in a row. If you're successful 4 weeks in a row, double it again. In our example, that would be 140 minutes. You might think this may only take 8 weeks because you can't imagine doubling your baseline more than twice. However, until you at least try it, it may seem impossible. Here are some ideas that might help you doubling the duration of your meditation sessions. The simplest way is to double your session time. If your baseline was 5 minutes, now meditate for 10. But that's not the only way. You can also add another session per day. For example, you could meditate your baseline in the morning and in the evening. There is a limit, though. If you work a 9-to-5 job, you also might want to practice more on the weekends. If you're trying to double 5 minutes, try adding 35 minutes on the Sunday morning. If 35 minutes is too long for a single session, no problem. Meditate for 10 minutes before breakfast and 15 minutes after breakfast, then put in a load of laundry and do 10 more minutes. Although this may seem like a goal here is to double your meditation time, it isn't. The goal here is to test your limits and to try to double your meditation time until you're not successful. The goal here is to fail. You're going to hit your limit at some point, and then go back to the last duration that you successfully completed 4 weeks in a row. Then move on to step 4. It doesn't matter if that's 35 minutes or 350 minutes per week, that's success. But before we move on, there are 2 takeaways that I'm hoping you get from experimenting in this way. First, there's not some correct amount of meditation practice per day or per week. There's the right amount of meditation that is sustainable for you at this time in your life. The second takeaway is that you're not going to find your true limit until you try to go over it. To reach your full potential, you have to learn to fail and compassionately reflect on if you could actually do better or if you've reached a limit and adjust accordingly. A couple more random pieces of advice. Sleep is more important than meditation. Second, look for opportunities to trade negative habits for meditation and study. And 3, meditation practice should cultivate mind states that bring you closer to friends and family. Don't use this as an excuse to ignore people or for justification for shirking responsibility. Step 5 is about going deeper into your meditation practice by carving out whole days or even weeks of time to practice meditation. Go somewhere and do nothing but meditate, make meals, eat, sleep, clean, and go for walks. And that's all. Yes, a strong daily meditation practice is the backbone of the path of meditation. You can build on that backbone by making time to solely focus on meditation. What are the benefits? I have 3 for you. Physically, you can go somewhere with fewer distractions and simply get much more meditation done in a small number of days. Emotionally, you can take a break from your standard emotional landscape. This helps you gain some perspective on your inner emotional life. Lastly, it's an opportunity to consciously break out of negative habits and start new positive habits. So to recap, find a place to meditate. Start where you actually are. Build a consistency first, then gently test your limits. When those conditions are right, make space to go deeper. If you have any questions or comments, I'd really like to hear from you. You can leave a comment about what your baseline ended up being, what felt challenging, or what surprised you the most. Thanks for practicing with me, and I'll see you in the next video.